Shalom to all. Today's daf is Nedarim daf Ayin Hey. We are starting in the middle of the Amud with the brand new Mishnah. And today's daf is sponsored Lilu Nishmas Mars Miriam Sarah Basar Yaakov Maisha her Neshama should have an Aliyah, and Lilu Nishmas Mars Freda Chayu Bela Basar Yitzchak Tzvi her Neshama should have an Aliyah. And the Mishnah says, Ha'im Ishtai, a person told his wife, Call an Nedarim Shetaduri Mikan Ad Sha'avi Makan Pliny, any Nedarim that you make from now, meaning from when I leave, until I come back from that place I'm going, Harayin Kayamin, they're Mukayim, I'm validating them now already. Lawyer McClum, he didn't say anything. However, let's say he says Harayin Mufarin, they should be Mufar, meaning any Nedarim that you make from when I leave until I come back should automatically be Mufar. Rabbi Eliezer says Mufar, they are Mufar. The Chamim say Einu Mufar, they're not Mufar. And now Rabbi Eliezer explains himself. Rabbi Eliezer, he says, Im Hafar Nedarim Shabo Lechlal Isser, if he's able to be made for Nedarim that already came into being Usser, meaning Nedarim that she already made, so Lo Yafar Nedarim Shalo Bo Lechlal Isser, shouldn't he be able to be made for Nedarim that haven't yet come to Chlal Isser, meaning Nedarim that she hasn't even made yet? Now let's just clarify, Rabbi Eliezer's logic is as follows. A neder that's been made already should technically be very difficult to be made for, because it's already been made. Nonetheless, the Torah allows the husband to do so. All the more so, he should be able to be made for a neder that has not yet been made. Now it's just important to point out that the reason why Rabbi Eliezer agrees that he's not allowed to be making a neder that hasn't yet been made is because the opposite is true. It's easier to be making a neder that has already been made because the Isser already exists, as opposed to a neder that has not yet been made where the Isser is not here yet. So that's why Rabbi Eliezer agrees in the case of being making a neder that hasn't yet been made. However, now the Chum responds to Rabbi Eliezer. They said to him, the pasuk says, Isha yikimenu ve'isha yifeirenu, her husband shall be making it, or her husband shall be made for it. What do we see from here? We compare hakama and hafara. Esther balachlal hakim balachlal hafer. Something that reaches the status of hakama can also be in the possibility of hafara. But loy balachlal hakim, if it hasn't come yet to the status of hakama because she hasn't made it yet, loy balachlal hafer, so it's not in the klal of hafara yet either, and therefore he's not able to preemptively be made for his wife's nedarim. The Gemara says he would ask the following question. According to Rabbi Eliezer, that a person is able to preemptively be made for his wife's nedarim. Mechal chalin ubetelin. Do we say that when she makes a neder, it's chal for a moment and then it's batal? I don't know, perhaps loy chal and klal. These nedarim that she makes aren't chal at all. Let's use our parking spot mashal. Do we say that the person parks in the parking spot and then his car gets towed right away, or do we say that there's a block up by the parking spot and he simply can't get in? The Gemara asks, "My nafkamina. What would the nafkamina be?" Ein heyon bezat top. Going to atvis achrina b'hadei nidra. Let's say someone else was matvis a neder to her neder. Let's say she said Hareini Nazira, I'm a Nazir, and then someone else said, I'm just like her. So if you're going to say Chalin, that her neder is Chal for a moment, have it Fisusas, and it's a valid Fisas to her neder, and that person is a Nazir. But Amrit Loy Chalin, if you're going to say that her neder isn't Chal at all, Loy Ikimashasha, so then what this person said, and I'm also going to be a Nazir, has no validity to it, has nothing to it, and that person wouldn't be a Nazir. So what is it? The Gemara Tamsaraya, Tashma, Rabbi Eliezer had said in our Mishnah, Im Hafer Nedarim Shabal Chal Isser, if he's able to be made for Nedarim that already came to a Klal of Isser, Lo Yafer Nedarim Shaloi Ba'ol Chlal Isser, shouldn't he be able to be made for Nedarim that are not in a Klal of Isser? Now Shema Mina, what do we see from here? Loi Chalin, that they're not Chal at all. Because what was the lashon that Rabbi Eliezer used? Shaloi Ba'ol Chlal Isser. Mashma, these Nedarim don't become Usser at all, and his preemptive Afara ensures that they're never Chal. So Gemara says, no, that's not a Raya. Mikatani She'einon Ba'in. Does Rabbi Eliezer in our Mishnah say that they will not come to Isser, meaning that they're never going to be Chal? He doesn't use that lashon. Shaloi Ba'u Kitani. He said that they have not yet come to a Klal of Isser. Adayin Lebo, meaning these Nedarim haven't yet come to a Klal of Isser, implying that when she makes an Eder, it's Chal for a moment, and then the Hafara takes it away. So the Gemara continues with this, Tashma, we have a Brisa. Amar Lahen Rabbi Eliezer. Rabbi Eliezer told the Chachamim, Uma b'makam she'ein mefer nidrei atzmai mishanadar. We know that a man is not able to be made for his own Nedarim once he makes them, but made for nidrei atzmai ad shelo yadur, he is able to be made for his own Nedarim before he makes them. We've learned previously in the Masechta that a person can say, any Nedarim that I make from now in the future, they should not be Chal at all. So a person could preemptively be made for his own Nedarim. Malcolm should made for nidrei ishtay mishatidar, in a situation where a person could be made for his wife's nedarim after she makes them, which is a standard case where a husband is being made for his wife's nedarim after she makes them. Shouldn't he be able to be made for his wife's nedarim even before she makes them? Now, what do we see from the statement of Rabbi Eliezer? My love, isn't it so? The ishtay dumya delay that we see a comparison between his wife's nedarim and his nedarim. Mahu deloy chaylin, just like when he preempts his own nedarim aren't chal at all. Meaning when he says, any nedarim that I make from now on shouldn't be chal, they're not chal at all, even for a moment. So af ishtay nami. So too when he preemptively is made for his wife's nedarim, deloy chaylin, it must be that they're not chal at all, even for a moment. So Gemara says, that's not a raya. Hakad isa v'hakad isa. Each one could be their own thing. Meaning, even though Rabbi Eliezer is comparing a husband preemptively being made for his wife's Nedarim to a person saying that any Nedarim that I make shouldn't be Chal, it doesn't mean that it's an exact comparison and that each of them has the same precise dinim the other one has. And it's possible to differentiate and say that when a person says that all my Nedarim that I make in the future shouldn't be Chal, that means that they're not Chal even for a moment. But when a person is preemptively made for his wife's Nedarim, they could be Chal for a moment, and only then the Hafara kicks in. The Gemara continues, Tashma ben attempted Raya. Amr Rabbi Eliezer. They told Rabbi Eliezer, according to your logic, we should say the following: Uma mikvah shemaylas hatmeim imitumasan. A mikvah elevates something which is tamei from its state of tuma, and it becomes tahar. But ein matzal al tahar milatame. It doesn't prevent something which is tahar from becoming tamei. We know that someone or something that gets put in the mikvah and it becomes tahar, when it comes out, it doesn't have a protective shield around it, and if something tamei touches it right away, it's going to become tamei. So adam she'ein malas hatmeim mitumasan. A person doesn't raise something tamei out of its state of tuma. If a person swallows a ring which is tamei and then he spits it back out, the ring is not going to be tahar. So einidin shelo yatzal al tahar milatame. Shouldn't we also say that a person is not able to prevent something which is tahar from becoming tamei? Before we continue, let's clarify what the Chamim just told him. One who is tamei becomes tahar by going to the mikvah. However, the mikvah doesn't form a protective shield around him, and after he comes out, he can become tamei again. Now let's say a person swallowed something tamei and then spits it out. Obviously that item is still tamei. However, here's the key. If he swallowed something tahar and went into a house which is tamei, the item inside him remains tahar. So now the Chum are telling Rabbi Eliezer, according to your logic, that item inside of him should not remain tahar. Since he doesn't have the ability to be metahar that item which he swallowed, he shouldn't have the ability to prevent it from becoming tamei. So we see from here that the ability to metahar something or protect it from tuma have nothing to do with each other, and it should be the same thing by Nedarim. In essence, they're telling Rabbi Eliezer that his reasoning is flawed, and just because one can preempt his own neder for being chal, that has nothing to do with a husband being made for his wife's nedarim. And the Gemara concludes, Shema Mina, what do we see from this whole conversation? Loi chaylin, the Rabbi Eliezer holds that a wife's neder isn't chal at all when her husband is preemptively made for them. Now the Gemara Ayin Vav Amud Aleph on top says we can't bring a raya from this brisa because Ema Seifa. Let's take a look at the end of the brisa. Amr Leil Rabbi Eliezer, they told Rabbi Eliezer, according to your logic, we should say the following: Imat bilan kli tamei li taher. If we're able to be matbel kli, which is already tamei, and that's going to be metaher the kli, so you have to bilu kli licha sheyitamei li taher. We should also be able to be matbel kli, so that in the event that it becomes tamei, it should now become tahar automatically. Now Shema Mina, we see from here the opposite understanding of the Reisha of the brisa, that chaylin, Rabbi Eliezer holds that when a husband is preemptively made for his wife's nedarim, they are chal for a moment, and only then the hafara kicks in, because they had told him we should be able to be matbel kli, so that when it becomes tamei, then the tahara kicks in. Just like when a woman makes a neder, the neder is chal, and then the hafara kicks in. So Gemara says, you're right, Amri, they said, Rabbanan loy kaimi lahaim b'tamid Rabbi Eliezer. The Rabbanan didn't know what Rabbi Eliezer's svara was. V'achei kamri lei, and this is what they're telling him in this brisa. My svir lecha, what do you hold? Yisvir lecha dechaylin, ubetelin. If you hold that when a husband is preemptively made for his wife's nedarim, and she makes a neder, they're chal for a moment, and then the hafara kicks in. So tiyava kli tiyoftach. This logic that we just used, which was a sefer of the brisa from the kli, that should be your refutation. And he loisvir lecha dechaylin, and if you hold that the nedarim that she makes aren't chal at all, tiyava mikvah tiyoftach. So in the Reish of the brisa, they were speaking about mikvah, that should be your tiyofta. So either which way we have a tiyofta on you. But we don't have a raya from this brisa what Rabbi Eliezer holds. Does he hold that the neder is not chal at all? Or does he hold that the neder is chal, but it gets automatically knocked away by the hafara? We're going to stop here for the day, pick up tomorrow, continuing to try to find an answer to this. For now, everyone should have a wonderful day.